We're on right now.
Okay. Okay, the time is 5:17 p.m. on February 4, 2021, and I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Chula Vista Civil Service Commission to order. In the interest of public health and safety and pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N2920, members of the Civil Service Commission and staff are participating in this meeting by teleconference. In accordance with the Executive Order, the public may view this meeting online, but not in Public Services Building C, Room B129 at City Hall. The city launched a virtual commenting portal, eComment, that allows residents to comment and participate in the meeting from their own homes. You can find the link to eComment at www.chulavistaca.gov/virtual meetings. Your comments must be received before I call for the close of the commenting period in order to be considered. After the commenting period is closed, I will announce a brief pause to allow the commissioners time to read any comments that have been received. If you have any difficulty or need assistance with eComment during the meeting, please call 619-585-5658 and Human Resources staff will assist you. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Yes. Chair Gerson?
Present.
Vice Chair Fish?
Here.
Commissioner Carbuccia?
Present.
Commissioner Salas?
Here.
Commissioner Sepulveda?
Sepulveda, here.
Sepulveda, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar, the first order of business is the consent calendar. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on items on the consent calendar. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure new comments appear. Can we set a timer for 2 minutes, Janelle?
Timer set.
Thank you.
And Jeanette, can you put the link in the chat for commissioners to receive any comments?
Yes, will do.
Thank you.
Time is up.
Okay. The commenting period for this item is now closed. Janelle, have we received any comments?
We received no comments.
Okay, having received no comments from the public, is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar? Or does anybody want to discuss? Is there any discussion? Okay, so moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll, Janelle?
Yes. Chair Gerson?
Aye.
Vice Chair Fish?
Aye.
Commissioner Carbuccia?
Aye.
Commissioner Salas?
Aye.
Commissioner Sepulveda.
Aye.
Okay, the consent calendar passes unanimously, 5-0. Moving on to public comments. Public comments is the section on the agenda for members of the public to address the board on items that are not listed on the agenda and are within the jurisdiction of the commission. I will now call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final public comments. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your screen to ensure that new comments appear. Two minutes have expired. Okay, the commenting period for public comments is now closed. Have we received any public comments, Janelle?
We did not receive any.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is item number 2, which is consideration of approving an early step increase for Stephanie Cox, Detention Facility Manager per Civil Service Code 1.05 I sub 2, with a staff recommendation to approve the early step increase. Janelle, do we have a staff presentation?
Captain Redwood, did you want to do a presentation?
I can give you a brief of what was submitted. Lieutenant Cox, she was promoted last year from supervisor of the jail to lieutenant to manager, detentions manager. In that time, during this past year, she has really risen way above her current pay scale during these COVID times. When she took over, the jail actually became an enterprise fund. So she accepted a lot more responsibility than any jail commander has ever had in that position. She had to renegotiate a jail contract with the nurses for the inmate population, as well as food contracts with the Aramark food contract. And during this whole time, they've been down a supervisor. So she's actually been working as a manager, a supervisor, finance officer, and working on contracts. So she's done a huge amount of work that was never anticipated for someone who has been a manager for only a year, and she's done so in an outstanding fashion and hasn't dropped anything during this whole year.
And I would also like to add, this is a position that was eliminated, Don, correct me if I'm wrong, a number of years ago, and we actually brought this position back, relieving a sworn officer from doing the work because it had assumed those duties some years ago when the city kind of shrunk during the lean years. And so this position was brought back when she was selected for the position.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And with that, a lot more responsibilities was added onto it, overseeing, because it became an enterprise fund that she has to now manage the incoming finances and all the finances to make sure that it balances out.
Can you explain what an enterprise fund means for the purposes of a public agency's department?
Sure, and I hope I don't mess this up too much. It means that the jail, the money that is under contract with the U.S. Marshals, that money pays for everybody who is in the jail. It balances. It's not a budgeted item with the city's budget. The enterprise fund supports all jail operations. So she has to make sure that.
I'm sorry. So does the budget support this step increase already based on it being budget neutral because it's an enterprise fund?
Yes, we did check with finance, our finance, and it would support it.
I have a question, perhaps for Courtney. Can you give some background into, you're saying it's an early step increase. Which kind of step is this involved? Is it a 10-year step? Is it an education step? What are we doing early, and when would the normal step have happened?
It is a 5% early step. So our system is set up of 5 steps. So she's currently at the step 6. So this would be 5% ahead of time. And let me pull the date. Sorry, I have to open it on this other. I believe it was January. So it's a year ahead of time.
Yep. And we, at the time during the promotion, we actually were looking at wanting to give her a higher step increase, but at the time we weren't sure because of it was a brand new position if we bring her in at B step instead of A step, and so ultimately she was brought in at the lowest level.
And
so there was a little bit of background noise there, Courtney. So essentially, you're trying to give her 5-year step increase, and she's at year 4. Is that it?
She's at year. So what our step system is, if someone's at step A, they go from A to B at 6 months, B to C at 1 year, and then yearly after that. So with her current step, because she's been there 2 years, she's sitting at step C. So at 6 months, she went to B at 1 full year. So in January of 19, she went to step B to C. Sorry, now I'm having to count A, B, C, D in my head. It's becoming difficult.
She started at A. She went to B 6 months ago. She just went to C, but we want her to go to D.
There we go. Thank you, Don.
Would she stay at D, Courtney? Would she?
She would be at D for 1 year, and then in 1 year she'd be eligible to go to E, which is our top step.
So we would escalate all the rest of the steps as well?
Yes, and there's one remaining step. There would be one remaining step after if you were to approve going to step D.
So if she,
see what happens when we can't see each other. Sorry.
I know. So if she was approved for this, it would extend her ordinary due date for the next step to be the 1 year cycle.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, Courtney, what's the history of when we've done these extraordinary steps?
Sure. There's been very few, and we used to see these. We would use it when we had people we had hired, and before we updated the rules for equitable rate increases. So when we updated the civil service rules prior to that, we had used this under some capacity to do that, which is why we updated the rules. I think probably since I've been here, the commission has seen 3 in the past probably 6 years. It's very infrequent that departments bring these forward.
And Jenny, in the past, just having been on the commission for a long time, when they came up in the past, they were often coming up as lateral hires, and we were questioning why weren't they just simply hired at a higher step? Why are you hiring them? And then 2 months later, automatically seeking quick step increases when there hasn't been a sufficient amount of time to analyze their performance. So that was kind of an issue, and then we made some changes to the rules. And I don't think, Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've seen one since. This is the first one in quite some time.
But this is also the first one we've seen that's really merit-based. The other ones were the reason we changed the rule, which was to get around that lateral rule. And so I just want to make sure I understand kind of, do we evaluate each of these on the merits individually? Is there a precedent, or are we, or do we have the discretion to make a decision on based on what we're told that is a reason to give someone an increase.
I would submit under the commission's rules, we certainly have that discretion. That's why it's brought to us. And certainly on the merit-based one, setting aside the problems in the past, we have full discretion to ask staff, to consider all the considerations and factors and make that determination based on a case-by-case basis. I don't think we're tied to any precedent.
No, and I think we have the right to. And so some of us that love to give people raises, I'm just trying to make sure that from a larger perspective, if there's criteria that Courtney is going to be using when she looks at bringing an extraordinary case forward, or are we going to see it because the department asked, we're going to see it. And so I'm just this is the first one that we've really seen, at least since I've been here, that's performance based. And
Yeah.
so I just want to make sure from Courtney what her thought is.
Sure. So what happens on our side is this goes through the city managers and my office before it would come to the commission. So we are supportive of it. So we're talking with the departments. We kind of know what's going on there, have looked at what's going on with the employee, the reasons the department's giving before it's presented to the commission for approval.
So Courtney, you do an independent analysis upon recommendation of the department before it even gets to us.
Yes.
So if you saw a basis or the city manager saw a basis to say no, it would never even get to us, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So there is a basically a 2 or 3 step vetting process.
Yes.
So Courtney, I guess that's kind of my question is, so you're saying that going forward, we would only see it if you were if the department requested it, we as the commission would never see it? Or that to make that decision because you hadn't approved it in advance?
So the rules allow for must be initiated. So here's how the rule reads: initiated by the appointing authority, recommended by the director of human resources, and approved by the city manager, ratified by the civil service commission.
Beautiful.
And Courtney, isn't there even an appeal process in there if it's not approved through vetting through the steps? The employee can actually appeal to the Civil Service Commission.
Correct.
In other words, if PD recommended it and you put the kibosh on it or the city manager did, that employee can actually appeal that decision, the kibosh, to the commission.
Correct.
Okay.
All about the kibosh. I'd move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Janelle, can you take? Oh, that was a second by Commissioner Fish, correct?
Did we do a 2-minute meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I did forget the 2-minute. So at this time, I'll call for a 2-minute pause to allow the public to submit any final comments on the item before the commission, before commission deliberation. Commissioners, as a reminder, please refresh the view on your computer to ensure new comments appear. Okay, seeing the 2 minutes has expired, and I just noticed there's a little clock on the side that I should have been watching. It's like bidding on eBay. The commenting period for item number 2 on the agenda is now closed. Janelle, have we received any public comment?
No public comments.
Okay. Do any commissioners have further questions for staff or comments? Seeing none, I'd like to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
That's a move by Commissioner Carbuccio. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fish. Can I have Janelle, can you take a roll call, please?
Yes. Chair Gersten,
Aye.
Vice Chair Fish,
Aye.
Commissioner Carver,
Aye.
Commissioner Salas,
Aye.
Commissioner Sapulveda,
Okay. Item number 2 on the agenda has been approved by the Civil Service Commission unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you. I just want to thank you very much for your time and on this.
Thank you for the presentation and answering the questions.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to we are moving on to staff comments. That concludes the action and consent agenda. Moving on to staff comments. Courtney, Janelle, anybody?
Oh, Simone, do you want to go?
Simone.
Yeah, I just have a brief comment. I know we have a couple of new members that I haven't appeared before yet, but I want to introduce myself. My name is Simone Silva. I'm a deputy city attorney. I'm the lawyer that's assigned to advise the Civil Service Commission. So I just want to introduce myself. So for example, I could have answered the question on our history and practice on the merit promotions. And the other thing is I was on the Civil Service Commission in the 90s before I got hired. So I know the process that went on there as well. But staff and everybody does a good job. So I don't necessarily always chime in. I only chime in when nobody's answering or additional assistance is needed. The one time I do not represent you folks or advise you folks is in civil service hearings, disciplinary matters. In disciplinary matters, I represent the department, the appointing authority, and you folks are appointed, or we hire an outside attorney that represents and advises you folks. That way there's no conflict of interest. So when on most of our work, my loyalty as a lawyer is to you folks. When I represent the department in a disciplinary matter, my loyalty is to the department. So that's why we have outside counsel advise you folks in those matters. So I look forward to working with you. It's a fun commission, very important commission. And I'm glad you folks are all here doing the community's work. So thank you.
Thanks, Simone.
Thank you, Simone.
Courtney, Janelle, do you have any comments?
I have a couple. I missed your first meeting, so Commissioner Sepulveda and Salas, thank you so much. It's going to be a pleasure to work with you on this commission. For the commissioners that have worked with us in disciplinary matters in the past, there's been some moving around of the attorneys that we've used, so I'm sure Simone and I will work together to make sure we know who we're going to use in the future should we need to have a hearing. There's been just minutes, which is okay. You'll see Janelle, you got an email from her today. Summer's out on a medical leave right now. So in the interim, you'll be getting communication from Janelle on any meetings we have. And then it is my pleasure to introduce Tanya Tomlinson as the newest member of our HR staff. She's with Commissioner Salas with the same background. I need to join into the meeting, but we are super excited to have her here. She comes from the city of San Diego. I will let her introduce herself, but I am more than thrilled to be working with her. So.
Hi, everyone. As Courtney said, my name is Tanya Tomlinson. I came from the city of San Diego, more specifically the city attorney's office, where I've had the pleasure of working with Chair Gersten, as well as Commissioner Carluccia, and even way back when, Deputy City Attorney Silva. So I'm very happy to be here. Courtney and Janelle have been fabulous, and love being a part of the Chula Vista team. So I look forward to working with you in the future. And if you need anything, please let me know. I'm HR manager, by the way, just so you know.
And I take pride in helping to poach her.
Coaching is good. Good job,
Bill gets all the credit.
Yes,
I
he's
did Chula Vista.
I did
Thank
have the
you.
opportunity to work with Tanya, and she's amazing. And so that's going to be super fun having you here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Good to see you.
She's helpful on anything and everything, so feel free to reach out to her. She really helps quite a bit.
I have filed more in the past 3 weeks than I have in a long time. It's amazing having her here. It's fantastic.
Just so we're clear, just got to give me a little bit of time to get up to speed because Chula Vista does things a little different than San Diego, don't they?
Thank goodness.
Commissioners.
On a much calmer level.
Definitely, definitely. So nice to meet you all.
So this is the group you'll be seeing for a little while. Erin's still here. She was just off this evening. So the rest of the band's still here. So thank you very much. That's all of my comments.
Okay, Courtney, Tanya, Janelle, anything else? Nope. Okay. And moving on to chair comments. So do we have any disciplinary hearings in the pipeline that we know of? Or potentials?
There's none that's reached the Skelly or request for an appeal hearing stage.
Okay. All right. Just keep us informed. It's always nice to know have some advance notice. You know. Okay. And then I know you reported out, but I forgot. So the amendments to the CSE rules, they did go to council and were adopted?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Have they been codified in a new set? Because I haven't seen them. In other words, can we get a hard copy, or are they available online?
They're on the commission website, but we can send you a hard copy.
No, it's okay. I mean, I could just print it off. I just want to make sure it was up to get a copy.
It is.
The copy I have is still the antiquated.
Courtney, can you send us a copy for those of us that aren't quite as good at finding things on websites?
Do you just want the link?
The link is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think we all have the antiquated versions.
With our scribbles all over them.
Yeah. Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns from the commissioners?
I have one. If a question just for Courtney. How has COVID been impacting your bargaining with employees, and what kind of is the status and the impacts of COVID on your work on workforce issues?
If I can unmute myself. Last June through August, we reached 1-year extensions with all of our labor groups. I take that back. In last March, we reached a 2-year agreement with our IFF right when the COVID outbreak happened. The rest of our labor groups have a 1-year contract, so those will be expiring in June. Our IFF expires this December. So Tanya and I are getting ready to go into bargaining with all of those groups. Our IAFF does have a side contract for our ALS, or our FRALs, which is our first responder premiums that they get. So we are currently bargaining that right now. So we are in the process of doing salary surveys and all of our prep right now, but we anticipate we'll be entering into negotiations with all groups in the spring. We've continued, just because you brought up COVID, so we've continued to do a majority of our recruiting that we can via the Blue Jeans platform. We've built a lot of online testing using different software that we have. There are still some tests that require in-person, just because we're either purchasing a test from a vendor or for police officer testing. With that, we're testing in groups of 15. So we're spending a lot of our time administering tests where we used to be able to, put 100 people in a room. We're now doing multiple days of people twice a day. But we've continued to hire throughout this process. So Erin and her staff have done a great job.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit, Courtney, about just the overall staff impact? Has turnover increased or decreased? Have you had a lot of positives with the staff? Is it affecting morale?
We have had. So at the beginning of the pandemic, I mean, I think we were one of the first to open up our EOC and kind of shut City Hall, and it remains shut for the most part, or shuttered, but the services really have been uninterrupted for the most part. Our finance department counter is open for people to come in and pay because not everyone's going to pay online. The remainder of our services from planning, it's done through appointment only. They've made contactless plan check drops, and a lot of that's been in place from the very early time. Our IT department's done a fantastic job of migrating all of our employees who can to work from home. So a majority of our staff are not here during the day unless they need to be. Our staffs that have people come in and out, we actually schedule when they're coming in and out. So we're not having large volumes of people where we have non-offices. There are some areas where we did have, outbreaks and things that have happened. If it was office spaces, we've upgraded our filters. We've done what we can, really using the tools we have and the best knowledge that's out there of what we can do to help it. We saw a spike in December, like everyone did, but in January it came back down to what we were seeing in November, and hopefully that'll continue to see the drop off. We're continuing to operate the testing site at the South Library branch where people can register, and there's the ability to register for same day at this point. We're not seeing the same number of people come through that testing site that were coming through in December, where when we didn't have appointments, they were waiting for hours in line. But when we switched to the appointments, people are in and out very quickly because we're not having to get that information that we were getting from people and having people enter it right then. So, the great thing is we have that available for our staff. So when we do have areas where someone tests positive, we're able to send staff the same day to get tested, stay at home, wait out. And then on the days they should be testing per CDC guidelines, we're able to get that testing done very quickly and efficiently, which has been wonderful. And then it's open to city staff to go if they think they've been exposed, if they're worried about something. We do have that capability, which has been, I think, very reassuring to staff. When they want to get tested, they can. Because I know a number of agencies, specifically cities, have struggled with how to coordinate that and what does that look like. But because we've partnered with the county with that, we've brought on EMTs that are doing all the testing. We've utilized our rec staff to help people kind of sign up through the process, and the county has provided the people to input the data into the system. It's really been a great system and very helpful to us.
And Courtney, you administer workers' comp claims in-house, right?
No, we have a TPA.
Oh, okay. So have you seen a huge spike in fire and PD because of the presumptions?
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Courtney, have there been any rifts related to it?
Have there been any what?
Rifts.
Any layoffs related to it?
We had layoffs we went into the new year we did a $4 million structural cut, and we did have layoffs and a freezing of a number of positions in July. But since then, we have not. Through the CARES money, and FEMA, we've been able to utilize staff in ways that, had we not had that, we've done it. But right now, we have 6 people at the library answering calls Monday through Friday, 10 to 6:30, if I'm remembering correctly, or 5:30, scheduling those that are unable to go online and make appointments. So we've been able to utilize staff in a lot of ways that have helped the community and make sure they're getting the food. We've had phone trees through people that were usually going to Norman Park. They're still doing food deliveries. And now first it was getting people signed up for testing, but now getting people signed up for vaccination. So we actually, as the city, have, I think at this point, 8 logons. Janelle and I have them too, where we can register people that are our employees that are eligible, that were either 1A or 65 plus. The library has that. So we actually kind of are on the back end side of the system, and the library can register people. It's same access to those appointments, but getting people signed up that don't have maybe the technological capability of doing that.
Great.
And have Chula Vista firefighters been trained to administer the vaccine if it gets to the point where there's enough? Okay.
Yeah, they're doing it now. So there's some at the Sears building right now. And on Monday, our application was approved by the state to have a pod. So we have a pod that will be going into convalescent homes and congregate care facilities and doing that. So we have an application in with the county, who then gets, they kind of get the vaccine from the state and then distribute it. So we are hoping to get our first vaccines next Wednesday. So hopefully distributing Wednesday or Thursday. And we have places lined up where we are going to distribute those shots. So that will be our fire department.
And that's not just employees, that's members of the public, right?
No, it's for the public. Yeah, it's for the public. So they've worked out, I think, with congressional towers and different places throughout the city. They're working to go and administer at those locations for those people to sign up.
Does the city get reimbursed for all those costs? associated with firefighters administering vaccines?
No, so we get reimbursed for overtime. So if it's done on overtime, we'll be reimbursed through FEMA. We're in a state of emergency. But we're also hoping for additional CARES funding because we are assigning a lot of staff to do this, but it's where the need exists. So some of it's covered by FEMA and we're hoping for additional CARES funding.
So county is not providing any funding to the city for that purpose?
For that purpose, no, but we're partnering in a number of ways. I think everyone's just trying to patch things together. And I think we've done a really good job of doing it in Chula Vista with a lot of the first partnerships that we're seeing in the county happen here. So it's been for as terrible as the situation is, it's been nice to watch what we can do.
Any other comments, questions from the commissioners? Seeing no hands and hearing no voices, I will move to adjourn our meeting. I'm sorry?
So moved.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
That was my excited, so moved.
Oh, I thought I heard Corey. Okay. Okay, it is 5:53, and I will adjourn the meeting to the next regularly scheduled meeting on March 4th, 2021 via teleconference. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Good seeing you, Simone.
Likewise, good to see everybody. Take care.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey, Courtney, if only half the people are coming in the office, can't you get Janelle out of a storage closet, for God's sake?
I know. We had a lot of, you know what's in those boxes, though? It's actually UV light sanitizers. But
wow.
It doesn't look, I know.
Okay.
I love her furniture.
I'll show you.
Yeah. That's cruel and unusual punishment conditions.
I'm working out of an Amazon warehouse.
Are you moonlighting?
So what are those?
So we use some.